Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night number 95 of the Overnight Feed recaps for Big Brother Season 25. The last Sunday morning recap we're going to have for Big Brother this season. We're almost there, guys. We had a lot of conversations yesterday that took place, a lot of repetition. So I tried to summarize as best I could, but let's get right into it so I don't talk for hours and hours because there was a lot of conversations. All right, first of all, tonight, special live eviction episode. We're going to be going from 4 down to 3 people as either Matt or Felicia head out the door. And there's no real certainty as to who it's going to be just yet. At one point, it seemed like it was going to be Felicia for certain. Now, maybe not so much. So it's going to be exciting to watch this evening. Jag has been agonizing over what he's going to do tonight. He's in a tough situation trying to figure out what he wants to do. So we'll find out this evening. All right, let's talk about the feeds themselves. We're going to start off first thing in the morning. We're going to just get all the way through the whole thing. Morning started off on a pretty friendly note with Matt and Jag and Bowie. Matt and Jag helping Felicia with breakfast. Bowie was doing makeup, I think, in the bathroom. But Matt and Jag helping Felicia. They had bacon. That's always a great way to start off the morning. There's a lot of conversation wondering about the HOH room. Apparently it was shut down just about all day yesterday. For whatever reason, they didn't know. They talked, maybe it could be for their home videos or something, but they were told the HOH room was not available. Eventually, it becomes available later in the afternoon. They can't tell any difference whatsoever. So maybe it's just maintenance or something. Well, we don't know. But the HOH room was shut down, so all the conversations taking place elsewhere during the majority of the day. All right, Felicia's still pitching. She's gonna fight to the very end. Was it yesterday where Bowie, I think, is the one who said, she'll be walking out the door and still thinking that she's going to be final two. Well, go for it. I want to see her fight to the very end. Felicia's still pitching to Jag. She's talking to him. I think they're in the kitchen at this point in time. It's just she and he. She's talking about who might vote for who in a jury vote. Saying, have you thought about where your best chances are? How well you're going to do? Sitting next to me, sitting next to Bowie, sitting next to Matt. She basically tells him, as she goes through and tries to count votes and all that, but basically what she tells him is that Matt would definitely beat Jag in a final two, that it might be a bit of a toss-up between Bowie Jane and Jag, and that Jag would definitely beat Felicia in a final two jury vote. So in other words, why wouldn't you want me sitting right there next to you, Jag, in a final two, so you can actually win the money, win the title? So that's her pitch to Jag. Jag immediately, of course, goes on and passes this conversation on to Bowie and Matt, who are in the scary room, if I remember correctly. So yeah, he's staying in constant communication. Doesn't want them to think that he's got anything going on with Felicia, so he's immediately spilling the beans to the two of them. All right, we've got Matt and Jag in the bathroom downstairs while Bowie and Felicia are playing bumper pool upstairs. Who would thought those two would be playing pool or anything else together? But they're playing pool upstairs while Matt and Jag talk a little bit. Matt seems a little bit worried. Not so much. I mean, not vocalizing that he's worried about the vote itself. Matt's a little bit more worried just about on his speech for tonight, knowing that it's going to be live. The house guests have been told it's an eviction, that it's live. So he's a little bit worried about doing a live eviction speech on TV this evening. Jag is saying, look, we've got to make it to final two together. So he certainly is not vocalizing to Matt this agony he's got, this indecision about where he's going to go. When he talks to Matt, it's all about, we're good, man. We're absolutely good. So he's telling Matt, we've got to make it to final two together. Matt is talking about Bowie Jane, and he's saying, I'm really worried that Bowie Jane would beat either you or myself in a final two. In other words, once we make it to final three, Jag, don't be thinking about any kind of flip or anything. Matt has recognized that Jag and Bowie Jane have been pretty close, sleeping next to each other, separate beds, but sleeping in a scary room together and all that. And so I think he's a little bit worried about it. So he's just wanting to emphasize to Jag that Bowie Jane will beat either one of us. So once we get to final three, we both know what we've got to do. Jag is saying, kind of confirming that, saying, Bowie Jane has played a perfect game so far, at least in terms of the fact that she has never made it onto the nomination block. And he's saying she's played a perfect game. Matt saying, well, I was playing a perfect game until you won veto and put me up, Jag. Or at least until Bowie Jane put him up. He says, I was playing perfect, but they both are trying to pump each other up that We do not want to take Bowie to final two because we could never win against her. Is that the case? I don't know. We may get a chance to find out. They're talking about Felicia using everything that she can against them. Well, of course, she's trying to survive. And Jag is confirming or reassuring Matt, saying, look, nothing that Felicia tells Bowie while they're up there playing pool, nothing she tells her is going to affect my decision. It's just, it doesn't mean anything. Let them talk because it's no big deal, Matt. All right, we've got Bowie and Felicia, meanwhile, talking upstairs. Felicia is explaining a lot of what was happening earlier in the season, the alliances, the whole Red versus Cameron situation, and Cirie flipping, and her and Cirie being at odds. Just trying to kind of fill Bowie Jane in a lot of things that Bowie missed out on because they were excluding Felicia or Bowie so much earlier in the season. So she's trying to fill Bowie Jane in a little bit, and Bowie saying, oh, well, now that makes sense. I didn't know. And at one point she says, I thought I was in my alliance and it was all about honesty and truth and all. And she said, oh, the viewers are probably laughing at me now that I know how many alliances there were and all the stuff that was going on. Felicia telling Bowie Jane, saying, you know, all this information, everything I've done so far in the game. She says, I know I talk a lot. I absolutely talk a lot. I tell a lot of people a lot of things, whether I should or not, but I never lie. I just talk a lot. Well, you know, you got to lie a little bit in the game of Big Brother, and she's certainly done some of it. But she's telling Bowie Jane that her gut is telling her that her gut isn't really telling her which way Jag's going to go at this point in time. But whichever way Jag votes tonight, she's going to be at peace. Either way, she's okay with it. She just doesn't know which way Jag is headed. All right, we've got Felicia talking to Matt and Jag. Excuse me, for a little bit. A lot of talk about Cirie and Felicia talking about Cirie would have won it all if they hadn't sent her out the door, that Felicia wanted her out. Felicia very much posing everything as Cirie was the huge threat. Felicia was a savior that protected the guys, that Cirie would have just run roughshod over everyone if she hadn't done what she needed to do. So she's spinning the story a little bit in the way that Cirie was working the game and the two of them working together. She talks, they're all talking a little bit about playing traitors, Cirie playing traitors, and how she played that game, and how she was devious and controlling and everything that happened in that game. And so Felicia's just making sure they understand what a good thing it is that they kept her instead of Cirie in this game. All right, we've got Jag and Bowie Jane talking a little bit. I say a little bit, a lot of conversation between Jag and Bowie Jane now, and then later into the evening as well. We'll cover them both, and a lot of repetition as well. So I've tried to summarize this as best I can. But Bowie Jane telling Jag that she's fine with whatever decision that Jag makes this evening at the live eviction. She's talking about her talk with Felicia and all the past events being rehashed, and that turns into Bowie Jane and Jag then rehashing the events as well. Jag filling in more information as well and getting Bowie Jane up to speed. Jag's pointing out that this whole idea that Felicia keeps saying, I don't lie. I give a lot of information, but I don't lie. Jag's point out, saying, well, yeah, Felicia was in every single alliance at the beginning of this thing. Maybe not the family hands or whatever, family lines. But he's saying on the other side, she was in every one of these different alliances. So for her to say that she didn't lie, yeah, no, she was lying to all kinds of people because she was in all these different alliances. So he's reminding Bowie Jane of that. They're talking again about Felicia's claims that Matt would win against either one of them if it came down to it, if he makes it into the final two chairs. And I think they're both a little bit worried about that. Now, at one point when Jag mentions that Felicia said that Matt would beat either one of us, not only would Matt beat either one of us, Matt would win this thing in a 7-0 vote. It would be unanimous against us if Matt makes it to the end. Bowie Jane at that point says, well, no, I would vote for you. If it's you versus Matt, Jag, you got my vote. I would vote for you over Matt. Don't be saying that, Bowie Jane. When she says that, all she's doing is telling Jag that, hey, if I make it to jury, you've got a vote that you can count on, because I just got through telling you I'll vote for you over Matt. You don't ever want to say that. Let the other people think that if they burn you, if they send you out the door, there's no way they're getting your vote. So I think she screwed up a little bit. Does it matter at the end of the day? Probably not. But don't be telling anyone they got your vote if you go to jury house. just another reason for him to send you to Jury House. All right. Meanwhile, while the two of them are talking, we've got Matt packing for the first time. He's pretty smart. He's packed all. I think he wants to take all his costumes with him, but they won't all fit. So he puts them in a garbage bag. And that works out well because, just as an inside scoop, when you leave that house, you can have all your costumes and all that kind of stuff. You don't get to keep any of it. The Big Brother goes through your bags. You walk out with what you came in with, nothing extra. If you get extra stuff, it's only because they send it to you later as a bit of a memento package type thing. So yeah, don't mess around with your suitcase putting extra stuff in. He made it easy for production. He doesn't know it, but he put it all in a garbage bag. Makes it that much easier. He'll get most of it later, but he's packing for the first time and feeling a little uncomfortable about that. He mentioned it to Jag, and Jag said, "Yeah, I know. I've had to pack a few times. I understand exactly what you're going through, Matt." All right, we've got Jag and Bowie in the scary room again. More talking going on. Bowie's saying that Felicia is acting happy. That she just seems very kind of upbeat about everything. And Jag said, "I don't know why. I didn't tell her anything. I don't know why." He says that a few times to different people. But Jag's wondering the whole discussion, the whole decision. Does he take, because tonight it has to be either Matt or Felicia that goes. So that's the decision he has to make this evening. And he's really debating it. He's trying to think out loud with Bowie. He's wondering if he needs to take Matt to final three because he owes him, because they've worked together so much, because Matt saved Jag with his safety power. So Jag's wondering if he owes it to Matt to take him to the final three. But he's also talking about all the times that he saved Matt or he protected Matt, saying, there's a lot of times the invisibility power was set up to send us out the door. There's lots of times where if it wasn't for me, Matt would have gone home as well. So he's saying, have I paid my debt, so to speak, with what Matt did to save me? Do I still owe him at this point in time? He's also talking about the fact that Matt never had a chance to take a shot at Jag. Remember, Felicia said, hey, and they'd reported, he'd heard through Cirie and such that, or through Felicia that Matt wanted to take a shot at Jag if he got a chance. And Jag saying, Matt never had that chance. So I'll never really know until after the thing is over whether he would have taken a shot. Was he going to be loyal? Would he have taken a shot? Is it just a matter he just didn't have the opportunity to do so? That's what's driving him a little bit crazy, is he just doesn't know whether Matt is truly loyal to him or that Matt has just had Jag playing his game instead. And that's why he can't figure out. So he's saying he just doesn't know what would have happened if Matt had had an opportunity to go after Jag. He does talk about the fact this last veto, he says, I beat Matt fair and square. It's just the two of us, either one of us could have won that thing. I beat him. That gives me the power, not Matt. So why shouldn't I have the right to do whatever I want with the power since I beat him fair and square? Bowie is giving some comments as well. She's saying that she's pretty certain, she's pretty confident that the two of them could beat Matt in the final competitions to make it into the final two. She thinks that she's got the mental side, that Jag has the physical side, that they could beat him. Jag saying maybe. I'm not as sure as you are, Bowie, about that. But she tells Jag eventually, she says, look, if you don't feel betrayed by Matt, if you feel like he's been honest with you and playing a valid game and y'all really are together, she says, if you feel comfortable with them, take him to final three. We'll battle it out fair and square. No more alliances, just the three of us battling out. Well, there is still a little bit of an alliance. It sounds like Bowie, Jane, and Jag, but she says, we'll just battle it out, the three of us, and then you can feel comfortable. Whatever happens then happens. She says, do that if you don't feel like he would have betrayed you, if you feel good with how he's played the game. She says, if you think that he was acting a little janky, if he was maybe a little dodgy, wanting to betray you and just didn't have the chance, she said, if that's a situation, then just go ahead and take him out now. Why wait? Just take him out now if you feel like he isn't being if he's being a little sneaky about his relationship with you. So she's kind of giving him an either or situation to help him decide what he's going to do. Jag is talking about saying, maybe I just keep Matt and we just beat him in the competitions. Maybe that is the most loyal, the most character type thing to do, is we'll just battle it out. He says, but am I just saying that because I'm just a coward, because I just don't want to have to face him and send him out the door? Maybe I should do that, and I'm just not doing it and putting it off just because I'm a bit of a coward. So he just can't figure it out. All right, he is saying that if it's Felicia in the final three, that if in that situation, it's a high likelihood that he and Bowie are going to make it to the final two. And he says, and if that happens, then it doesn't matter. Yeah, you take me, I take you, and all is good. He says, so I really do see a clearer path if we have Felicia in the final three as opposed to Matt. He says, but with Matt, we're going to be fighting for our lives. Felicia's gone. It's just may the best man win. At that point, Matt can win this thing. Felicia, no, Matt can win this thing. He says, that's what worries me. We'll be fighting for our lives if we keep Matt. If we keep Felicia, we have a pretty good opportunity to make it to the final two chairs together. All right, now here's the thing. He's so agonizing over this and trying to figure out what he wants to do. I think a personal opinion on how maybe I would do it if I was Jag. I think Jag needs to cut out all the chaff and everything else. He needs to look at first jury votes. Who does he have the best chance of winning this title against sitting in a final two chair, and who gives him the worst chance of winning the final two? Once he knows who he would prefer to sit in that final two chair with, really, I think all of his actions at this point in time then need to be directed to making sure that he and that other person make it into those final two chairs, which I think at this point in time probably means cutting Matt and holding on to Felicia. Yes, he runs more of a risk that he misses the final two completely, since Felicia is less likely to take Jag to a final two. By keeping her, if he keeps Matt and Bowie Jane in the final three, probably Bowie Jane and Matt, either one, probably potentially keep Matt. So keep Jag. So Jag has a very good chance of making it to final two. But I feel like his chances of winning against Matt, for example, do go down. Whereas with Felicia, he has less of a chance of making it to final two because Felicia won't keep Jag. She'll send him out the door and try to go forward with Bowie Jane, I believe. So if he keeps Felicia, he has a better chance, I think, of making it to the final two and winning this thing. If he keeps Matt, he runs a better chance of getting the final two, but losing the final thing. So does that make sense? At the end of the day, I think you've got to be thinking about winning the title and not just making it into the final two chairs. And with that in mind, I think his best chance is cutting Matt loose. As horrible as that is, cut Matt loose, take Felicia to the very end, if possible. All right, we've got Matt and Jag talking to one another. Matt's still talking about the speech he's going to have to give at the live eviction episode. He does tell Jag, he says, look, I feel good about you, but at the same time, Felicia does seem a little bit happy. He's saying the same thing Bowie said earlier. And Jack saying, I haven't told her anything. Don't be thinking I've said anything that would make her feel like that. That's just Felicia. Whether she truly feels like that or she's just making it seem like that, I haven't told her anything. So don't take anything from that, Matt. Matt's saying that he's talking about Felicia talking about this whole history with Cirie and all that. And he says, yeah, she's trying to make Cirie look like the scapegoat and that Felicia was all innocent and she was doing what benefited us best and all of that. Well, yeah, of course she's spitting in her direction. Jag is saying that Felicia, she's talking, she's pitching, she's doing everything she can, but at the end, he says Felicia can dream about being final two in the jury house. When she gets there, she can think about final two, but don't need to be thinking about it here. So again, he's being positive with Matt internally, and with Bowie, a little bit different story that we're hearing here. Matt is questioning if they're just supposed to let Felicia get to the end. Is that truly what would happen? Obviously, Matt does not want Felicia going any further than Sunday evening. All right, everyone ate together. I think they had chicken and some salad or something, but everyone had dinner together. It was nice to see all four of them eating together and just being together for a little bit. They did a better job today than they did a few days past. A little more inclusion of each other at dinner and onwards, as we'll talk about. They're talking about daylight savings time. Felicia's finally going to get her wish to change the clock. So they're talking about that. And miracle amongst the miracles, Bowie and Matt and Jag all help clean the dishes and clean up the kitchen after they get done. When they get done, Bowie says, "Is that it?" And Felicia, I think, says, "Yeah, we did it. A team effort makes it easier." And then thank you. And so, yeah, they helped her out on her final night. Better late than never, right? All right, we've got Felicia in the storage room talking to Mr. B, saying, "I appreciate you, Mr. B. You watched out for me. I've always enjoyed talking to you. I'm just glad. Thank you for everything. I appreciate you, Mr. B." I just love when she calls him Mr. B. I've enjoyed some of Felicia's calls out asking for food and everything else. I would have never done it, but it actually was kind of fun to watch. She's got to ask for what she wants in the house. So she's thanking Mr. B for everything that he did for her during her time in the Big Brother house. All right, eventually we have Felicia downstairs on her bed playing solitaire, while the other three are drinking wine upstairs. They're trying to play some kind of game. I'm not sure. Mainly it's just, let's drink the wine. So they're drinking some wine upstairs while she's playing cards downstairs. Felicia's getting ready to call it a night, but the house guests say, "Nah, you gotta come play hide and seek with us." And so they played hide and seek, and it was a lot of fun watching the live feeds. I am amazed at these house guests, how the tiny spaces they can squeeze themselves into. Felicia at one point climbed into, she got Jag to help her, but she actually climbed into the cabinet underneath the sink in the bathroom. I don't think I could fit in there, but she managed to get in there, and Jag was squeezed in between her bed and the bed next to her in the comic room. They had a lot of fun taking turns trying to find everyone else. And considering that they've been in this house for 90-something days, the fact that they were able to find hiding spots is pretty impressive. Felicia's laughing. She's enjoying it. She's, "I can't believe us adults are sitting here playing hide and seek." So they do that a little bit. While they were playing hide and seek, they discovered in the storage room that they'd been left a few games, including Chinese checkers. So they all end up playing Chinese checkers for a little while. Just have a little fun with that as well. So they did that. Now, eventually, Felicia gets to go into the kitchen, change the clock on the oven, change the clock on the coffee maker. She's going to get an extra hour sleep tonight. I think she's pretty happy to get that. All right. Eventually, she gets into bed. She's talking to kind of talking to herself, talking to the cameras. She's saying 4 more days until finale, and I know I'm going to be there finale night. I just know it's going to happen. She's saying no one is going to be able to say bye, Felicia, that I'm going to be here to the end. She may be. We shall see. She's saying that she is tired. She's saying, "Mr. B, yeah, I'm tired. You let them nap all day long, so they're up, but I'm tired. Help me out here." Mr. B helps her out. I think the lights turn off, I don't know, around 9 o'clock or so instead of 10 o'clock. So Felicia's going to get a little extra sleep. That, combined with the extra hour of sleep between daylight savings time and all that, means that Felicia is going to be well rested. If she survived this final 3, if they then have the first part of the HOH competition afterwards, she's going to be well rested. So we'll see if that makes a difference or not. But yeah, Mr. B helped her out, gave her just a little extra sleep time. So Felicia calls it a night. We get some more shots throughout the evening of her snoring away, enjoying potentially her last night inside the Big Brother house. Meanwhile, we've got Jag and Bowie Jane, more talk about his decision that he's going to have to make. He's saying that, look, if, I've said before, if Felicia stays, we have a really solid shot of you and I, Bowie Jane, of being the final 2. So it really just seems like Jag is trying to talk himself into cutting Matt loose. He's just not quite ready to do it, but he's understanding maybe that's the easy path that they need to be taking. At one point, I think there's some conversation about who Matt would vote for if he's cut loose, and Jag says, "I'm not worried about that." He said, whether I cut Matt loose now or I cut him loose at final 3, either way, I'm going to lose his jury vote. So that part I'm not worried about. I'm not counting on his vote no matter what happens. Now, he may try to still hope that he could get it. And there certainly has to be a consideration that if he cuts Matt loose right now, would he lose Matt's vote? Maybe so. If he waited until final 3 and he cut Matt loose, would he lose his vote? Maybe. Would there be a possibility that Bowie Jane won the final competition and she's the one that cut Matt loose. And then Jag most certainly gets Matt's jury vote. I think that's got to be coming into play as well. But he's saying no matter what, I don't have Matt's vote. It's just the way it's going to be, Bowie Jane. He's saying that even with all that being said, he's still leaning towards keeping Matt at this point in time. Bowie Jane says, what would your family say? And he says, well, my dad would tell me not to overthink the situation, not to overcomplicate it. And he said, I always tend to do that, which I think is probably true. You can't handle every scenario. You've got to just look at the most probable situations and work off of that. So he's saying, yeah, my dad would say, don't overcomplicate the process. And I know that's what I'm doing right now. He thinks that whenever they do cut Matt loose, whether it's now or at final 3 going to final 2, whenever they do it, he's afraid that Matt's really going to lose it and be really upset. Jag is saying, look, Bowie Jane, if I do it, I want you to be good with it. We're working together. So whenever I cut Matt loose, I need you to be on board as well with it. And Bowie Jane tells him that she is down with whatever he wants to do. And she's saying, as far as cutting Matt loose, I know it's a tough decision. She says, but I'm down with it if you want to do it. It's the move that everyone else would make given a similar situation. So making that little comment there at the end suggests to me that Bowie Jane is ready for Jag to take the easy path and go ahead and cut Matt loose. Hey, it's no blood on her hands, right? All right, Jag is complaining that Matt had the luxury throughout the season of agreeing to every single plan that was made. He said, yeah, we had all these plans. Matt said, yeah, I'm on board with it. But if the plan didn't work out, then Matt didn't have the culpability. He didn't have the blood on his hands the way we did. So yeah, it was easy for him throughout this whole thing just to be on board with everything. So again, he's trying to convince himself, I think, why Matt maybe doesn't deserve to make it to the final 3. But he's also saying that that when it didn't work out, no blood on Matt's hands. He said, and as well, he said, the one thing I asked Matt to do was to not tell Cirie that Felicia was throwing Cirie under the bus, and Matt did it anyway. So do I really owe Matt anything at this point in time? Jag is saying that there's a part of him that's saying forget the money and go with the loyalty and keep Matt on board. But he's also saying, having said that, I also realize I'm going to have to cut Matt at some point. So am I just putting off the inevitable? And if so, why am I doing that? He's wondering as well that if he doesn't do this, are they just handing Matt the win? If he keeps Matt ends up winning, goes to final 2 chair, wins the whole title. Is he just giving Matt the money out of a sense of loyalty at this point in time? And he talks about the fact, says, am I being more loyal to Matt than I am to my family in not taking the route that gives me the best chance to win this thing? That's it in a nutshell. He has spent 95 days interacting with this guy, and you develop bonds in that house, hard, true bonds with one another. And yet he's realizing that, is his loyalty really to Matt, or is it to his family back home? So he seems to be coming around to this idea that maybe it's time to send Matt out the door. He's talking as well. He's saying, a few days ago, we were freaking out about that very tiny possibility that Felicia could win the veto or HOH, either one, and screw up all our plans. And he said, here we are talking about potentially keeping Matt, who is certainly a much bigger threat to win this thing, win these competitions, than Felicia ever was. So why were we freaking out about her and just kind of giving Matt a pass on this one? So he talks about that. He has a few comments at the end, and we're going to wrap on these. He says, look, my brain is saying keep Felicia. My heart is saying to keep Matt. And my gut is saying to just go throw up and never play Big Brother again. That's the internal struggle that Jag is facing right now. His intellect, his head is saying one thing. The loyalty, the character, his heart is saying do the other thing. Which one is going to win out in the game of Big Brother? At the end, he says he knows what he needs to do, but he's just wondering if he has the strength and the heart to do what he knows needs to be done. And we know what he's talking about, right? He knows that he needs to send Matt out the door. At least he thinks he needs to send Matt out the door. But does he have it inside him to do it? And that's what's going to make tonight so exciting, because we do not know which way he's going to go. I personally think keeping Felicia probably is the better option for him, but there's certainly be arguments to be made the other way. We're going to find out tonight. So it's going to be a great one. It's going to be live. Afterwards, we'll have the first part of the HOH competition. Not sure it's going to be part of the show. I'm pretty sure it will not be. I don't know if we'll have the feeds for it either, but we're going to know who the final three are by this evening. So I'm looking forward to that. Guys, have a fantastic final Sunday of the Big Brother season. I will be back tomorrow morning to give you an update on who the final three are and maybe who's won the first part of the three-part HOH competition. So until tomorrow morning, have a great one, guys. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.